Alright, Bulletbobbers, fishing in the river. It's raining outside, so I am fishing underneath this bridge of our interstate system. And you can see as the river comes around and through all that currents and all the eddies. And today we are going to be focusing on this corner right here. Again, I'm sorry for the shaky video. It looked good, so I decided impromptu to go fishing and make a video of it. Alright, so I will be sitting right down here. Here we go. I will be sitting right down here and standing along there and right here. And what I'm doing is I'm kind of fishing this whole riverbank here. Yes, I'll get to the bobber in a second. What I'm using, speaking of which, see if you can see that little spinner guy. Makes a little noise. It's a surface thing. And up here, I have my trusty little bobber rigged up just like that. You can see that or not. There we go. Line through the top, spring loaded, screw in the bottom to keep it so the green side is down, because I constantly want it to pull away from the shore. This is a very fast current. Well, not very fast, it's pretty fast. So, I'll walk down to the edge here. Again, I'm so sorry about the jumpy video. I'll do my best. This is for Paul, because I told him I would take some videos. Paul Lieb is the creator, inventor of this wonderful little bobber that I love so much. So, what I'm going to do basically is spin this reel backwards. You see how I got it sitting here floating? It's pulling behind nicely. You want something that'll keep the line tight from there to there. So if you're going to pull a lure, pull one that has drag, and the current will decide how deep of a lure and how much action of a lure you want on the other end. Anyhow, and I'm going to lay this down in the water, and you can see that it immediately pulls away. When I pull my bobber up here, I'll let you see the lure's action. And when it's in the water, that little thing twirls. There we go. So you can see that there, as you trying to do this two-handed, so pardon me again. Here we go. You see that? It just kind of spins and pops. And, for the purpose of the video, it works just fine. So, once again, I'm going to let this babber out. Babber. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the tip of my rod down over here and point it towards this direction. And then I'm going to operate the rod and the reel. So I'm reeling backwards. Well, you know what reeling backwards is. And I'm just slowly, I'm lifting my rod tip up here, because these bobbers are kind of neat, much like flying a little kite, as Paul says, and I agree. You want to keep the tip of the pole up, because if it gets in the water, the current will actually pull your line a different direction than you want to go. There we go. And I'm just slowly unreeling. I'm reeling backwards on my reel. Be careful, because this will tangle up your line if you're not paying attention, which I've done a million times. But as you can see, the line going out nice and slow. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here as far as I can go. I've never operated a video camera and a fishing pole at the same time, so I hope I don't drop my camera in the water. There. Again, I'm getting it positioned so it sits off the end of that pier and it just bobs in and out. Alright, we're back. And I'm going to pause the video in a minute. Once I get it into position and zoom in and show you how it sits right on the end. So once again, it's really okay. I'm going to stop reeling now and just hold it. I don't know if you can see that as well. Here we go. See it in the light. So what you'll notice is how it sits there, just like it's supposed to sit. You could put a minnow on there, depending on the speed of your current again. Put a weight on the end and pull it down into the current. But it'll just sit here all day long. You don't have to touch a thing. So if you're bobber fishing, your bobber would be way down there by now and you'd have to reel it up and cast it out. But with this, all you do is just sit. Unwind it, bring it closer, and of course the cool thing about the flip bobbers, which mine won't do because I have a peg in it, so keeping it from flipping, you take that peg out, that screw that you get with the bobber, you take that out of the bottom because it's just there for weight. And when you take the weight out, what'll happen is you can flip it by just jerking back on it. I've got other videos for that purpose. But for this one, I just want to hold that bobber still and present a bait behind it in that area. Again, this will hook with a simple weight and a line and a hook that you buy. You know, does not have to be fancy. You can tow a worm or any bait, minnow, any bait you want. On the slow currents, it's great because it keeps the minnow behind and you don't have to pin it to the bottom of the river and lose all kinds of tackle. And you don't have to throw something that weighs as heavy as a barbell out into the middle of the water. I don't know if you can see that okay, but I'm just about there. It does take a minute, and this is the part that's like flying a kite. Now I'm going to stop a second here. I'm going to climb up the hill and stand up here instead of way down here by the river. I'm going to climb up here and stand up here. Okay, here we are again. Now, had to set my reel loose again. Now I got it almost where I want it, so I'm just going to pull back on the pole. Again, I'm letting the bail pull out every time I jerk back on this bobber. See that? I don't know if you can or not. But if you can, let's see if I can focus it. There we go. It's towing that little lure behind it right off the end of that pier. And as you'll notice, and I'm sorry this takes a minute, but it really does take a second once you get it into position to get it to act the way you want it to. And by that I mean there's a current on the other side of that pole, so if you pull it towards you, you'll keep pulling out a little more line and a little more line because the reel is unlocked. The bail is not open, but the reel is unlocked, so you can pull the line out. And I need to put a little more line out. Now I'm pulling something that's very light behind that bobber, so when I jerk on the pole, if you had a heavier lure on there, it would definitely pull the line out better, but for our purposes, I have to do it by hand. Alright, now I'm just going to lock the pole here because I really would like it to stay there. Where is it at? Way there, okay. It's at the edge of the screen in the middle. You see how I just popped? I can pull it a couple times. You see how it just rides there? So you can move that bobber, and wrapping this up, you can see how that goes. Every fisherman understands that. So in essence, what's happening is I can put that bobber anywhere from all the way out here by the pier. You see the tip of my rod? Maximum recording time reached. Anyway. So anyway, my line is right here. You see it way up there at the tip. You see the tip of my pole. You can put that bobber anywhere out here by the end of this pier and drag that all the way back and forth. I can let out more line and bring it all the way across the river, or I can bring it here. And now if I was creative, and because these bobbers flip, I can move it in and out of those piers and back and forth all the way up this river. So this bobber definitely is more than a bobber. You could snap it on, snap it off, or you can tie one on like a slip bobber, and you can make it sit still, or in other videos you can make it flip back and forth. So I can make it zigzag if I wanted to, all the way down to the end of that pier and back, and just by going out and in, out and in, I can just zigzag it back and forth, and I can bring it out as far as I want, and then I can bring it all the way back to here and then flip it and then bring it back again. Anyhow, I hope this video helps for anyone thinking about it, buying these. I recommend it, but just keep in mind that once you do get it, you'll have to use it a few times, and eventually you look at it and say, how I was making this way more complicated than it was. It's really quite simple. Anyhow, have a good day. Bye.